let's make sure that we're comfortable with working with the model, rotating it around, positioning it, and things like that. Also, in this little section, I want to make sure you're aware and that I'm doubling up on this concept of projects and tools. So remember, there are projects and tools. Okay, tools are basically these guys here in the tool palette, and you can load them by saying load tool, and you can save them by pressing save as. Projects are a different beast, and they're very close to scenes. So projects are controlled by the file menu up here, and also just control plus S. So that will save a project as well, and the project saves all tools, so it's going to save everything in the tool palette. It also saves changes you make to the material palette. It saves your settings in your render palette, saves settings in the light palette. So when you get more advanced, projects are what we would be saving to kind of store everything. Keep in mind though that projects save all of your tools. So if you have a bunch of tools sitting in the tool palette, projects can get quite large in file size just because they're dealing with, you know, a lot of models. So in that case, you might switch and start to save as from the tool menu and start to work with them individually. Okay, so I'm going to load another project from Lightbox. Remember, Lightbox here, and we're in the project folder, and this time I'm going to double click default cube. I'm going to say no, don't save the changes I made before, and the cube is going to be really easy for me to get a sense of how to navigate. Okay, now before we learn the hotkeys and focus on those, remember all that information and the keys themselves are over here on the right of the canvas. And remember that you can just press Control and hover over the interface item, and you'll get the pop-up help. The last paragraph tells you the hotkey. So in general, rotation is clicking outside of the model. Sometimes if your model is zoomed all the way in, clicking inside of this neutral zone will rotate the model as well. So anywhere outside of that white line. Anytime you click on the model, then you're sculpting. So if it's on the model, you're sculpting. If it's off the model, you're rotating. Or if it's in the neutral zone, you're rotating. Okay. Now, I'm scaling this, and I'm going to tell you the hotkey for that in a moment, but moving the model around, let's make sure we're aware of that first. So rotation is click. Move is just press Alt and then click. Again, press Alt off the model. If you do that while it's on the model, you're sculpting. So Alt, click outside the model, and then just drag it up, down, left, or right. Okay, now make sure you're really comfortable with these, and when you need to scale the model up and down, the first button you're really going to be using is the scale button. Okay, the reason why I'm hesitating here is because scale can be confusing in the beginning. So what I want is to make sure you're comfortable with rotating, make sure you're comfortable with moving, and make sure you're comfortable with using that scale button to drag up and down. Those are really important. Alt-click, rotate, and then the scale button. Now, before we look at the hotkey for scale, I want to make sure you're comfortable with how to rotate your model and snap it to a view. So I'm going to start to click and drag around, and then as I get close to a view, I'm going to press Shift and lift my pen and let go of the Shift key. Okay, I'm going to do that again. My hand is off Shift. Okay, I need to emphasize that because this is the first thing everybody gets confused about. And I'll demo it, actually. I'll demo the confusion. They press Shift, click outside the model, and they start to rotate around, and now I'm having trouble getting to the top view. Okay, this is not the way to do it. What you do is you click, start to rotate, then press Shift, and see, Shift is going to go to the view that it thinks has the most likelihood of being the right view. So you need to really get up to that top view and then press Shift. And then keep both Shift and the Wacom pin down. Lift the pin, let go of Shift. That's the order that you want to do it. If you snap it and the Wacom pin is still down, you release Shift, then you lose it. So keep Shift pressed, lift the pin, let go of Shift. Okay, so make sure you're comfortable and you practice that. And pause the video. Go into ZBrush and practice that. Alright, I'm going to assume you're comfortable with it and you're ready to go to the next step, which is scaling. So scaling is a lot like moving. You just get in and you start to move the model around. But now what you do, you keep the pin down and you release Alt. So my pin is still down, but Alt is now gone. So now I'm scaling in and out, and I'm dragging up, down, up, and down. Alright, I'm going to do that again. Start by moving the model, so Alt, click, then release Alt, and scale up or down. Alt, click, release Alt, scale up, and down. Now that's a very new hotkey, and you're not used to lifting up Alt. So what you want to do is practice, and I mean practice right now. Take the time, take 10 minutes, just militarily drill yourself. Alt, click, release, Alt, click, release, Alt, click, release. I did that for 10 minutes quite a few years ago, and after that I was done. I didn't need to practice it. It was second nature. It's 10 minutes of your life. It will make things easier. You don't want to be 3 months later still playing with the scale button. That's going to mean that you're really shortchanging your knowledge. So you want to take the 10 minutes now and really power up on the navigation.